fourth quarter. The Utah Jazz rally late in the third behind Jordan Clarkson, kick it into gear in the fourth, and run away from the Pacers despite a slight scare late. And the Jazz go to 2-1 on the road trip. Ron Boone and I are talking about it next on POSTCAST. It is POSTCAST. David Locke and Ron Boone with you as the Utah Jazz get their second win in 3 tries on this road trip. This time a 123-117 win over the Indiana Pacers. 29 for Jordan, 29 for Lowry tonight. This was a funky game. They trailed by 6 at the end of 1. They led by 2 at the half. They fell behind in the third. Then Clarkson went. We had a Jordan Clarkson experience, would be the way to say it.
3 threes in the third quarter
after he had
the turnovers.
4 turnovers in 4 minutes. I said 5, but I think it might have only been 4. I think a 5th actually got deflected back to a Jazz player. And then we all know this. Like, sometimes when Jordan has that bad a stretch, it leads him to, like, click in. So he promptly hit 3 threes and got fouled in another for 12 points and led the Jazz to the lead. They led 89-88 going into the fourth. And early in the fourth, they just really took control of the basketball game in an impressive fashion.
Well, if you get it back to Jordan, it's like he gets down on himself, and he starts hitting his thighs and grabbing his head and like, I know I just made a mental mistake, and and then he comes out of it. You know, it makes those threes, gets himself going, and all of a sudden the Jazz, end up outscoring the Pacers in that quarter, or end up losing that quarter anyway by 1 after, but still he just seems to get himself going there and probably made the big difference in that third period.
The Jazz burst out to a 12-point lead early in the fourth, and that's what kind of won it. Colin Sexton and Tyrese Halliburton dueled Colin, having 10 points in that quarter.
Yeah, Colin all of a sudden starts getting to the basket there as well. And boy, he has just a burst of speed that's unbelievable. And what I've been more impressed with, I think, because I thought at the beginning of the season, watching him drive to the basket and trying to score over bigger defenders, actually getting himself in trouble to the point where he just wasn't finishing at the beginning of the year. Things have turned around. I mean, he gets high enough, and he's finishing at the rim and just getting a ton of layups strictly because of his ability to get to the hole.
It's stunning to me how different this team is. I mean, not surprising. We moved 4 players. But it's a totally different team. Colin Sexton and Talen Horton-Tucker basically played 48 minutes tonight. They played 50, so they played 2 minutes. The two of them combined to go 9 of 21. So our point guard's position is now taking 21 shots a game. Mike was taking about 7. They combined for 13 assists between the two of them and 25 points. I mean, we're just now, neither of these guys are natural passers or they're not naturally setting people up. But as they try to figure out how to play together, this is just a really different team with these downhill, aggressive, driving point guards.
And I'm seeing something different in both of them. And Sexton probably has played that position a little bit longer, or even though he's he's a shoot first, pass second, type of a point guard. But he does know how to get the ball to people. I didn't think we saw that in Tucker, but we're starting to see that he's thinking about it now, and he's making the right plays. He's coming off the bench. He had 18 minutes. He had 7 assists in the ball game, but he only had 7 points. But that's cool, I think. But he's thinking and knowing how, okay, if I'm going to get some minutes on the floor, I know how to do this.
Well, his play to Baji at the end of the quarter, which actually didn't convert, rare corner 3 miss from Ochai, was really one of the nicer plays Talen made all night long.
Yeah, he drove real hard there, eyes out, looking weak side, and that corner 3 was open on that left side. And it's a good pass. It's a good play to a player that's been knocking down the corner 3 consistently, for the last couple of months.
Seemed like it was going to be another night of offensive rebounding worries. They allowed 4 offensive rebounds early in the first quarter. They allowed a 5th early in the second quarter, and then they allowed 3 for the remainder of the night. The Jazz actually secure the defensive glass tonight, Ron.
Yeah, and for the most part, David, they got some offensive rebounds there as well, thanks to Keller Olynyk.
Well, thanks to 3. Simone Fontecchio missed 2 threes so badly that they ricocheted out to the wing at about 18 feet where Olynyk grabbed him. I said we got threes off both of them. Actually, I looked back. Sexton turned it over on one of them. Then we got a three off the other one on those two plays. But those rebounds were so awkward that we actually did pull those two to give us that chance.
But I think the Jazz had averaged somewhere around 9 or 10 for the most part earlier in the year, and then they start to struggle in that area. But it's good to see them back up to 11, even though Walter Kessler only played 19 minutes tonight, and he's been the one that's really helped spearhead those offensive rebounds.
Walker got in a little bit of foul trouble tonight, and they closed with Markkanen and Olynyk tonight, along with Clarkson and Sexton and Abaji. Ochai getting big minutes late and having to guard Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, that's a good experience for him. I mean, sooner or later he's going to have a little scrapbook. I don't know if he keeps a mental scrapbook, if he writes things down about the strength of opponents that he's going to run into time and time again throughout the league, so he'll know the strength of other players and know how to defend him. Now, true enough, you go through a shoot-around, you go through a game plan. This is what we want to happen. This is how we want to defend things. You have to, go along and follow and do those things, but you still got to know when you got a guy going one-on-one with you, you got to know his strengths.
I'm not sure I totally know how the Jazz pulled away tonight. Do you have a feeling on the fourth quarter of what happened that the Jazz made to stop making mistakes. They made a bunch of mistakes kind of early in the game that made you feel as though, gosh, if you stop making those mistakes, you could pull away. I mean, you actually said that on the broadcast. So what do you think happened in that fourth quarter that went from up 1 to up 12?
They made 11 of 16 shots.
Oh, that helps.
That helped. Had to do it. The 68%. So that definitely helped them pull ahead.
They've done a few of those recently.
Yeah.
Including making 11 straight the other night. So they do have they have been able to get hot in a few circumstances and be able to do that and make those. Is there anything you're seeing in that fourth quarter that's allowing them? I mean, they went and got Buddy Hield on an island a few times. They got Colin Sexton to the right hand. They seem to be getting smarter and of understanding of what they're trying to do in those possessions.
I think as long as we see the good shooting percentages with this team, I don't think this is ever going to. I just don't think this is going to be a strong defensive team. I think as long as we see good shooting percentages, we're going to be able to stay in ball games tonight. 68% in that third period, and then almost 48% there in the fourth. 10 or 21. I think those shooting percentages will keep you in the ball game, and I don't think I see anything special right now defensively. But again, defensive game plans are going to be the key for this team. I think,
well, they were able
forward.
to get themselves tonight to a bunch of three-point shots, which they have not been able to get to in the previous game. So they found a way to find three-point shots tonight. The defense tonight, the final defensive rating, the question I've had this whole time is, can they become a better defensive team, was still not very good. It was a 117 defensive rating, and frankly, Indiana's only a 113. So they have they're winning these games offensively in Toronto and here. They have yet to figure out how to become an improved defensive team. Since the trade, they're 28th in the league defensively, and tonight was another night that will kind of match up to that level.
I totally agree with that, yes.
So they're trying to figure it out, coming together a little bit to find that. I did want to make out one other point it's really interesting. I think everyone's pretty clear that Will Hardy knows how to coach. It's on the road we get to go to shoot around and actually understand and see shoot around. At home we go to shoot around and we have a little limited ability to see as much stuff. It's incredible to watch them run through the script of plays or things they're doing and then see them come to fruition in the game. There was a play today, they literally opened their script. They run Will on a given night will work between 5 to 9 plays he thinks are going to be important for that upcoming day. I think today was about 6. And the first one they worked on, they went to 2 or 3 times late for Colin Sexton and got something out of it. And then had a bunch of other times where they were exact plays that they were working on during the game to get what they wanted out of it.
Yeah. It's amazing, and we touch on this quite a bit, is being able to, coaches are pretty smart, and they not only are watching film, they talk about situations out there and come to an agreement on how to take advantage of certain things out there on the floor, and when they happen, it's amazing. It's all about coaching, the game plan, executing it, getting it done.
Tip of the hat to Brian Bailey. There were a few things they specifically worked on in the shoot-around as well that were items. I'm going to be a little obtuse here because I don't want to break confidence, but they had one or two things that I was actually a little surprised they did in shoot-around today. Like one of the main things that they worked on and that involved trying to slow down their second unit, and they did a really good job of slowing down their second unit in some of those plays that they worked on today. So tip of the hat to the coaching staff as well today. Just want to give you guys a little insight on that. 2 stars, Ron Boone?
I'm going to go with Tucker, and how about Kelly Olynyk? He hasn't had this is probably one of his better ball games in a while. He got 31 minutes tonight and had double digits. Had a double-double for the most part.
4 from 3, 18 points, 10 rebounds.
Yes.
And Taylor Horton-Tucker, 7 points, 7 assists.
Yes, and to just think his floor game is really coming alive now. We could probably give this to Jordan Clarkson because he did get everything going there in that third period. Markkanen, who got things going there as well. But I just like the way Tucker is starting to be a little more of a playmaker and not a low percentage shot shooter.
It's interesting. I was going to go Colin Sexton, plus 10 tonight, only 2 turnovers, 6 assists. 7 to 14. JC's got the 29, but I don't think either of us can watch that one stretch of basketball out of our eyes. All right. I'll just have a little nod out there for Colin. I'm watching him emerge as a point guard and Will emerging. Will's done a masterful job with using Colin to his strengths this year, and so it's fun to watch that happen. All right, that is our postcast tonight. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll give you Locked On Jazz tomorrow. Sorry it didn't happen today. It's all coming up for you tomorrow from Memphis. Jazz win tonight over Indiana, 123-117. Have a good one.